Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Phodcast. I'm Dennis Carney and my guest today, maybe someday he will be the host, is Jamie Grassi. Ciao Jamie, how are things?
Ciao tutti, come stai?
Hey Dennis, bueno, grazie. Yeah, not too bad. I'm excited to have you on. I mean, we've done a kind of a mock version of this before, but the question I really want to ask first up is how are you going to follow Aaron Cawley playing Johnny Cash at the end of the podcast, the last podcast?
I don't think there's any following up on that. It's truly magical. I always tell him whenever I see him play music. I love watching him and listening to him play music. God, he's phenomenal at it.
He certainly is. It was a great way to start the series, but I mean, if there's anyone that can follow it up, it's you. I was looking through the things that we were going to chat about, or that I wanted to chat about, and I was really excited. It made me want to kind of get a load of links set up, which I did. So we're going to cover the things that I think, I mean, it's going to be a little bit about cricket, but the really interesting stuff is the non-cricket stuff, which I can't wait to get into. Speaking of cricket, you're watching a bit of the Indian innings today, were you?
I was watching a bit, yeah. I watched about 20 overs of the India innings. I got to watch a bit of Pant and Hardik Pandya bat.
You thankfully didn't get to see Hardik Pandya field. That was there were some absolute clangers out there today that were dropped. I was funny. Adam mentioned in the chat feed earlier that I had said in the previous podcast there's a few ghosts still in that Indian fielding, and my God, they came out of the closet today. There's some poltergeists, never mind ghosts.
Yeah, I was reading that in the chat. Obviously, didn't get to see them field, but from what you guys were saying in the chat, it didn't sound too good, to be honest.
Oh, there was an absolute dolly. The new lad that came in that bowls the Yorkers. There was an absolute dolly. Sorry, no, it was Thakur, who kind of the fellow that's come in the last few games, and it literally, I think it was Mark Wood. Basically, was it Mark Wood or was it Sam Curran? Sam Curran basically just lobbed one straight up to mid-off, right? Like it sat in the air for ages, came down, he had loads of time to set himself underneath it, and it basically just went through his hands. Like how it didn't hit him in the face, I don't know. It was just like one of those head-scratching moments. I think they dropped about 3 in about 5 hours. It was just some shockingly bad stuff. It was like the bad old days. But anyway, and speaking of which, did you see, and speaking of sport from today, did you get a chance? I was kind of flipping between the cricket, which is really exciting, and the Formula One, which turned out to be a really exciting race.
Yeah, I got a chat. I actually watched the full race. I think there's a lot of Formula One fans and experts out there now after the Netflix documentary.
You took the words out of my mouth. Like, I mean, I've just caught up. I got up to episode 10 in series 3 there today, just before the race. And I'm genuinely thrilled. And I mean, I've even got a Mercedes wallpaper now on this computer. Like, that's how bad I am. And the fact that I drive one as well, it's just kind of like, Mercedes power. It's sad, absolutely sad. But yeah, great race though.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Lewis Hamilton was honestly incredible in it. But yeah, it's crazy getting into it. Like I was sitting there watching the sitting room. My sister came in and she started talking. And I turned around and said, "Will you shut up? The racing's on." She goes, "What do you mean? All you can hear is zoom, zoom, zoom." And I was like, "No, you have to listen to the commentary and what the team are saying." And
like it's getting great because now like, and you kind of know these personalities. You know Christian Horner, what he's thinking. The lads on the pit wall, the Toto Wolff. God, it's like, have you seen the clip of him doing his Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions?
In the gym in one of the series, was it?
Oh yeah, I think it's like, "Get out, God, get to the chopper," because he's Austrian as well. Like, and I've only just realized recently they have a very distinctive accent, the Austrians. Like that chap that's the Haas, Gunther Steiner, the guy's the Haas team boss. He has one of the biggest, openest Austrian accents. It's really like, we got talking like that. It's like, Jesus Christ. I thought it was just Arnie that spoke like that. Apparently it's an Austrian thing. Who knew?
Yeah, they nearly have subtitles on every time he's speaking, but it's a very passionate tone, I find, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think he's actually, I mean, technically he's Italian, Gunther Steiner, because he lives in this village in northern Italy. But it's like 20 kilometers away from the Austrian border. So I mean, he speaks German. His name is German, and he has an Austrian accent, but he's technically an Italian. I don't know how that works.
I think a lot of people like to claim that they're a bit of an Italian themselves.
Well, not everybody can genuinely claim that they're an Italian person, unlike my current guest today. So, like, let me get this right. Your dad is Italian, isn't that right?
My dad was born and raised in Milan, in Italy. Yeah.
And what you call it? So he, the family history. We've talked about this before. We won't go too far into it like we normally do. But so how did your mom and dad meet then? Was he over here? Was she over there? What happened?
My mum left Ireland when she was quite young. She went over to be an au pair for an Italian family and just bumped into him along the way, and that was that. And then they moved back here and had probably one of the best moments of their life having me, you know.
Well, I think it's definitely one of the best moments of my life, even talking to you, Jamie. So, like, I mean, to have you as a son, I can only imagine what that must have been like. And so, like, I mean, the best moment of their life having you, I mean, I can agree. But I mean, the moment that cricket came into your life, what would you say? Like, when did that happen? Do you remember it clearly? How did it come?
Sorry, Dennis, there I missed that
That's
last
no
bit you
problem.
said there.
I was just saying about cricket. How did cricket come into your life? You came into theirs.
Oh,
and enriched
okay.
their life.
I was in school. I went to Ballodry National School, and I remember I was in 4th class, and a teacher came in and said, "Oh, there's a cricket competition on, or cricket blitz coming up on Thursday. It must have been a Tuesday or Monday." And I turned around and go, do you get the day off school, like, to go?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I'll hop on this, no bother at all." So we went over to Rush Cricket Club, and there was a few schools around Fingal, and there was a 4th class blitz, I think. So it was only 4th class, and I'd never picked up a bat in my life. And I remember I held it like I was riding a bike. I held the bat like this, so I did, first of all. But I just started, it was only a softball, and it clicked. I don't know what happened. I just found out I was really good at it, kicking the ball around. And I thought to myself, geez, I'm smacking this ball and there's people running after this. It's like, I feel a bit of authority here. I kind of like this batting gig. I just got into it then.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, I was talking to Aaron about this, which came first in the batting or the bowling, and he said he kind of did it at the back garden kind of himself. And we talked about a hurley. I mean, you were holding it, you're saying like the front end of a bike. I mean, the several people I've that think they can do, particularly hurlers, and I'm a primary school teacher. I come across a lot of people from, that are involved in GAA, and a lot of them, like hurlers, would think, sure, that cricket stuff's handy. Like, throws, give that bat there, and they do the same thing. They hold it like they're holding a golf club nearly or something like that, and it's like a baseball bat, and they think they just naturally can do it, but obviously not.
No, there's a bit more to it. So when I finally went to the first county session, I was taught properly how to hold it, and it took me a while to get used to, but it just came naturally to me. I've always played sports growing up, with big soccer football around here, big football player, played all the way growing up, played a bit of rugby, but once I found cricket, I just fell in love with it straight away.
I think the hardest shot really to kind of program your brain to play is playing shots, any kind of shots on the front foot. It's easy to kind of, to hike and to use your bottom hand and just like baseball style, because that's where your natural power is. But I think to try and retrain your brain to use your feet, get forward and get over a ball, and kind of contrary to your natural instincts to kind of self-protect and put your hands out further away from you. I think that's probably the hardest thing. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely, because especially me, I know myself growing up and playing cricket through the years, I was always a bottom hand player, still kind of am predominantly bottom hand. But I remember growing up, all I ever tried to do was hit sixes, and that's like you said, it was leaning on the back foot, just trying to hit it over the field. So it did take me a long time to get it into my game, going on the front foot and getting the technique right. But I'm happy with where it's at now.
One of the drills I've seen recently, people talking about a lot, I think it was in Kevin O'Brien. Kevin O'Brien starting a cricket school. Well, he has to do something after cricket, I suppose. And he's, I'm sure he'll go into commentary or, agency modelling or something. There's no stopping Kev. He'll do whatever he wants. But and I've seen other coaches talk about it as well. I think Moritz was talking to me about it as well. It's like practicing your batting without moving your feet. You're not allowed to move your feet, and it's the idea that you basically learn to play the ball under your eyes and wait for the ball to come to you.
I actually have a video saved on my Instagram of Mark Chapman, I think his name is. He plays for Hong Kong, and he also played for the Auckland Aces in New Zealand in the Super Blast. And there's a brilliant video of him standing on, like, I think it was a 4x2 sheet of timber. He just has it on its edge, and the bowling machine going. And obviously, It's him practicing staying still, keeping his balance. He's not falling off the 2 inches he's standing on, and he's just swinging the bat. And I love that drill. I practice a drill kind of like that myself. And I even before games doing that drill, lads feeding me balls, and I'm not moving my feet. I'm just moving my hips. And the lad trying goes, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you moving? I'm like, it just helps me get my eye in and playing the ball under your eyes. And I find it's a big one that helps me.
Well, I'd say definitely Rishabh Pant has been using that one, because he played a shot there, I think the last one day, where he did not move his feet at all. And for people who look at that, and, you know, purists of the game would look at that and go, oh my God, that's an absolute hike. It's a slog. It's, you know, it's like balling to number 11. But I mean, we've just talked about that there, and I think people are doing it a lot more. They're doing this practice where they don't use their feet, and it does help you to keep your head still and to kind of let the ball come to you, especially if it's a quick bowler, using the pace of the ball and just sending it. But then he gets out to Jofra Archer a few overs later, playing the same shot. So, like, what can you do?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people the game's obviously evolving, and one of the thoughts made behind it is, well, right, if the ball's there for me to hit, and there's no point me waste, like, obviously only applies for some balls, but it's like, I don't need to move my feet, so I can use that time to really, really practice on moving my hands and keep my head still and just smashing the ball. And like, you look at golf, I know they have obviously a bit of a wider stance, so it depends on your type of batter, but they're still and they hit the ball, so, and it works. You know, it's a lot of hand-eye coordination and a lot of hand speed going through now.
I think that the advantage there, though, is the ball is also still. that definitely helps. I mean, if the bowler could just come up and place that on a leg, say, yeah, there you are, sir, now you can hit that. Yeah, I think we can all play from staying still. What I was going to say to you, it was Kevin Peterson was talking about as well when he had trouble with the left arm spinners. He said that a training drill on the podcast he did with Nasser and Rob Key yesterday was he was talking about exactly the same thing, but also to make sure that he had to force himself to play through the offside. It was good for spinners too, that he had to wait and not premeditate, let the ball come to him. And if he could get himself to watch the ball and retrain himself to watch the flight and trajectory, so that he had to play through the offside and play with the spin. And so he said sometimes the balls were coming out the leg side and they'd been pitching at the leg side, and he still had to watch and wait and really be patient, and then last minute move his feet then. And it was basically to try and trigger his feet to move properly, not just planting his foot, but moving his feet appropriately to the right ball each time.
Yeah, I remember reading a little article about him speaking about that. All right, and it's very interesting, and it obviously worked for him because he was a phenomenal player.
Yeah, and he says so himself as well. The guy is not short of a bit of confidence. But I mean, I think we've talked about this before. You know, people like that, you know, the apex players have that confidence in those short amounts. And I think I'm talking to one person that would agree with that the absolute apex players are the ones that have to back themselves no matter what.
Yeah, that's it. Sure, if you don't believe in yourself, who is going to believe in you? You know, you're the main person who should be driving yourself. So I'm a big confidence player myself. Obviously, I'm not the prettiest looking cricketer when it comes to technique and stuff like that. But if I know if I play a bad shot, but if I'm in a good mindset and a good frame of mind, I'm ready for the next one. And once I believe I can achieve, that's when you achieve, I believe.
Well, I'm bar like Sachin Tendulkar. You say you're not the prettiest to watch, but bar Sachin Tendulkar, maybe. I mean, you could argue Jacques Kallis as well, but like the top batsmen in cricket in terms of run scoring and Test cricket are the ones that have unorthodoxies about them, like in Ricky Ponting, you know, the massive backlift, Brian Lara. These lads tend to be unorthodox. And obviously Steve Smith is the perfect example nowadays. You know what I mean? And the more unorthodox you are, the less you can be orthodox in your approach to trying to get them out. You kind of have to think outside the box, and it makes bowlers and fielders and captains think a little bit differently. And maybe they have that problem with the bowling to you.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, it's a topic I think that you can argue over for a long time. But I know myself, just when playing stumpy or mess cricket out in the green, stuff that, like, when you start messing, having fun, you seem to be playing the best. So, like, why can't you take that into the real game and have fun? Because that's what it's all about. That's how you obviously you play to win and you want to do well, but having fun is a big factor in that, I think.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you can play with a smile on your face, like, it helps if you're good, obviously, but if you can play with a smile on your face, it could make that extra difference between, you know, bottling and choking and trying to premeditate and feel that you're doing something you need to do, something you don't need to do. and also gives you the freedom to kind of like, I mean, like England are the template for that moment in terms of they're outwardly they say they play with no fear cricket, and you can see like the likes of Sam Curran can still come in at whatever lower order number he's coming in at and nearly get a century for England. I mean, that was incredible stuff. All back on the back of exactly what you were saying, playing with no fear and enjoying themselves.
That's it. It's spoken so much nowadays about playing with no fear and going out there and just enjoying yourself, because that's what it's all about. Because I know myself playing through the years, I used to I still do a little bit, but you put so much pressure on yourself to perform, and that's when you fail most of the time, I feel. And I know myself, there's days when I go, geez, I need to score runs, and I haven't scored runs. And then there's days where I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to think about cricket on the Friday. I'm going to go off and I'm going to play a bit of golf, hang out with my friends, not think about it, rock up to the game on Saturday, stay in a clear mind, and just you go out there and you're like, right, I'm gonna play today like I always play and just enjoy myself. And then they're the days that you do best.
It reminds me of Ian Botham talking about 1981 and going out and hitting in the second innings and, you know, trying to stop the follow on against the Australians, a famous story. And he just said basically, I'm going to go out and have some fun, because it was the kind of wicket that if you tried to survive, you'd have one with your name on it eventually. And a little bit out of form, had lost the England captaincy. I think he got 50 odd in the first. You got a score of some sort in the first innings, but you know, that would still be ringing kind of sore in his ears. You know, that the especially the pair he got at Lords, which lost him the captaincy earlier on in the series, and he just said, I'm just going to go out and have fun. And he was a little bit out of nick. The start, a few nicks, a few awkward shots. You know, that wasn't great, but like it didn't take long. Exactly what you were saying. If you're out of nick, for that form to come back once you start to relax and start just watching the ball and doing the simple things.
Yeah, that's it. It's the same in everything in life. If you try to keep it simple and simplify it, it's going to make it easier for you, and it's just going to be enjoyable. Like I remember one innings I used to love watching Brendan McCullum bat. I think it was fantastic, and I loved the way he'd bat in his head. I'm going to run down the track first ball here. What happens, happens. And I remember watching his last test against Australia when I think he scored was it the quickest, or it was near the quickest test cricket.
It was ridiculous. I think he wasn't far off the record. He was pretty close to the end. I think he missed it by one or two deliveries. I'm not sure, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, that for me was amazing. I really enjoyed it. That was probably one of my most favorite innings I've watched. He just went out and he did all his career. He was like, I'm gone. This is it. You can tell me one thing, you can tell me another thing. I'm just doing what's in my head, and look at it. It paid off.
And the fear that inflicts in an opposition team, knowing that someone can take a game away from you. You know, they said about Botham, he could do it in 2 sessions. He could do it in a session, McCullum. He could get a quick 400 in 30 overs, no problem, and he would take the game away from you just like that. And having that kind of arsenal in your side, you know, really, I think that's he's very underrated in terms of his effect on cricket, modern cricket nowadays. The test teams nearly kind of feel they have to have someone in their side, at least one player in the side that can go, as we say, pongo, and, you know, just hit it to all corners if you need to.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's just about finding the right guy. I think he's a type of player that he might only score 2 big scores, like 2-3 big scores out of 10 innings, but when he's in. It's worth it. It's like there's a lot of players out there, you know, that they might only score two massive scores out of 10, but you know that when those 2 scores are coming, that every fan of cricket wants to watch that, and it's amazing for your team.
It's bums on seats. I mean, that's the thing. The great players do it, and they bring people in. Now, speaking of, we won't have any bums on seats or as many fans coming to Phoenix this year, but we will have cricket, and we'll have a little bit more, hopefully, than we had last year, and a little bit earlier than last year. What are you kind of thinking about, you know, your game from last year to this year? What do you kind of want to work on and do better? Obviously, you're the Phoenix vice captain this year for the first team, so it's a little bit of a change in kind of the formal role. But in terms of Jamie Grassi, the batsman, what do you want to work on? What do you want to do better this year?
Well, that's one thing. I don't want to just be Jamie Grassi, the batsman. I want to be Jamie Grassi, the wicket-keeping batsman. I have been working hard lately on stretching and getting loose and doing yoga myself, like Aaron talked about. It's a very big thing, because I need to get back on the gloves, and I'm looking forward to it, because I've been speaking to a few people, and I think it's going to be the best thing for me to get back wicket keeping. Obviously, my chances, the way cricket is now, especially in Ireland, and the way that they're looking for a wicket keeper everywhere, So I think it's a big opportunity for me to start breaking into squads.
I hope this has nothing to do with Gary Wilson's retirement. You're like, ding, 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 ding. That's a little niche for me.
No, this has been going on for a while. Obviously, last year was tough with dislocating my thumb in the first 5 minutes of my first ever Phoenix Cricket Club training session. So I got kind of lucky. So I had to kind of hide a bit in the field last year, but hopefully I can go into this year feeling a lot fitter and stronger.
Yeah, I mean, like it's something that is so important, and the kind of character you are. I mean, everyone when you're batting, everyone hates a chirpy wicketkeeper, and you know it's just. Well, I mean, we mentioned Pant earlier. He really grinds my gears when he does that little chuckle. You know when they get an LBW appeal, and he goes, ah! You can just hear it from behind the stumps. You're just kind of going, oh. And if that's annoying me, I can only imagine what it's doing to the lads. I mean, obviously they're the professionals and they're used to kind of banter and chirping behind them. But I mean, I can imagine it does make a difference. And to have someone like you actually behind the stumps for Phoenix this year, I think would be a really big bonus on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I feel coming in last year that I had a big impact in the squad, and I feel I took a lot more responsibility, and I feel like last year was the year I really, really matured in cricket, and I'm really starting to understand the game more. And I feel like a few of the things I've been saying to the boys have been able to help them pull them along. And obviously with my experience of playing senior cricket since I was about 14 or 15, senior one, I got quite lucky in North County because they were stuck for wicketkeeper. So I've been playing first team cricket for a long time. I've played with a lot of good players, a lot of good pros. So I feel my knowledge of the game is getting stronger, and my experience is helping me get through a lot more games.
Yeah, and like it's invaluable to have someone with the experience that you have at such a young age. And we've a lot of players in the team now that are young, but very few have the experience that you have and playing at the levels that you have. Obviously, Louis might have something to say. I don't know whether Louis wants to have a go at the gloves again this year, but it'd be great to have a little bit of competition between the two of you, and maybe one game on, one game off. It'd be interesting, a bit like Manchester United, you know, the goalkeeper gloves, to see who can stake their claim the best. What you call it? Speaking of gloves and football, one thing we both have in common is I think yours is a little bit more outgoing than mine, but it's a love of AC Milan Football Club.
Yeah, big Milan supporter here. Born and bred.
I was going to say.
So
no, sorry. Go ahead. I cut across you. Go ahead.
No, it's just I actually I have a couple little brothers and sisters, and my two little brothers are big Man United fans, and I think my dad kind of likes Man United, but I think it kills him that we're not all AC Milan supporters. But obviously, me being the oldest, got to spend a lot more time with him. I think he drilled that into me. There's a few baby photos of me going around in the full kit, you know.
I've owned about 2 or 3 Milan kits. One of my pride and joys was I bought a retro Milan jersey when I was in Verona a few years ago, and it was just a real simple, you know, with the motto on the front and the Italian flag and the Scudetto star at the top, and it was, I think it had like it was a Van Basten, or no, it was just number 10 on the back. And it was my pride and joy. And then putting it through the wash, the number started to peel off, and I still have it. But it was just like, it was killing me. The lovely jersey. I shouldn't have worn it. I was wearing it playing five-a-side stupidly.
I know the feeling. I've had a few jerseys through the years, and no matter how rugged or ragged they get or how they turn out in the wash, I still have them all in the wardrobe there somewhere. The numbers peeling off, the crest, everything.
The sponsor hanging off. There's a Man United jersey I have. It's called. Do you remember the tablecloth jersey they had a few years ago? The last time they won the Premier League, and the joke was, where does the tablecloth go? On top of the table. And what you got, the AIG or the AON, whatever it was at the time, the response was AON, I think it was, has peeled off. So now it's just the crest and the Nike tick and Skulls 22 on the back. But it actually looks better than it did with the sponsor on. So, like, you know, it's not not losing out.
Some jerseys do go like that, don't they? You're like, geez, that actually looks fast without the sponsor on it.
The mad thing about, like, I was just talking about Milan, I was actually going to say there when you were talking, it's like that's how you distinguish and identify a proper bona fide Serie A fan or Italian football fan when they refer to AC as Milan, not Milan. You know, Milan are playing, no, it's Milan. When you hear that, you know that, especially if they're an English speaking person saying Milan, you know that they know their stuff. Speaking of which, I just want to just give you a quick little kind of, you mentioned Manchester United, just going to feed it in very well. One of the first links I'm going to do here today is Manchester United and Milan connected, or has a connection. The first one, Jamie probably won't enjoy that much. The second one, he definitely will. So I'm just going to share my screen now, And I'm going to share the sound. Okay, so just go in. There's my Formula One thing. So this, I'm not going to show that one. I'm going to show you this one first. Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is you I don't want to see. Okay, here we go.
just hope there's no dodgy tabs open that you must.
No. Bayern Munich. Giggs. Rooney. Oh! How good was that? The big nine gets a big finish from Wayne Rooney.
Now, I wanted to play that because I at the time I didn't realize how loud the crowd was, because obviously I was screaming my head off watching it myself, obviously. But what you miss, and it just reminds you so much of what you miss, is that fan noise. Like, if you just, obviously Clive Tilsley loses his mind a little bit because I think he might have been a closet United fan. But if you listen to the crowd noise, and this is where the segue is going to come, it's the only thing I can think that comes close to a Serie A packed stadium goal celebration. Just have a listen again.
But that year, Bayern Munich. Giggs. Rooney. Oh! How good was that?
Do you know what I mean? That kind of like, and it made me think of Milan. You know, especially the kind of the left hand side stand to the TV. And you know, when the goal go in, you'd hear like a gunshot or something in the background. Someone would be hitting off flares, and the fans all just mush to the front. I just want to show you this. I think the commentary's in Italian, but well, obviously you'll appreciate that. But the passion in it is just unbelievable. Enjoy.
Attaccato da Shevchenko, buono il pressing, ed ecco Zebina che allontana lui con quel suo fisico scultoreo, ed è Billy Costa Curta che dovrebbe girare, la gira a Cafu e viene avanti 32 denti Cafu al primo minuto di gioco. Attenzione, pallone a Kaká, ecco Smock in bianco, grande gol, viene avanti Smock in bianco, può mettere il pallone dentro, colpo di testa, gol! Shevchenko dopo un minuto, vento di passioni, vento di passioni, vento di passioni, vento di passioni, vento di passioni.
Oh my God! What does Vento di Passioni mean?
I'm not too sure, Dennis. But it's just the Italian language. Everything's just passionate. There's everything about the Italians is just passionate. Because I know myself, I like anything I do. I like to be passionate about it. Play with passion or don't play at all. But I remember my mom's fluent in Italian, so my mom and dad used to always speak in Italian. But I remember being a kid, and even my little brother said, "Why are you always fighting?" Like, no, we're not fighting. It's just how we speak.
It's incredible. Like, as I said to you before, like I read in a body language book that apparently if you want to shut an Italian up, you just pull their hands down by their side, because they can't speak without their hands. The hands have to be up high. And like in an Italian discussion, the person whose hands are the highest is the one that gets to talk.
That's how it is. It's set in stone over there.
I love it. It is absolutely and it's the hand. I first became aware of the hand movements, obviously watching the footballers, and you'd always get the same stock kind of trinity of hand movements they do. It'd be like that, and then like that, the hands go out. So it'd be that, and then the thing like that, and then the hands go out like that. The kind of the trinity given out, and then of course if you're giving out to somebody, that one you get the hand come up like that. But yeah, and then a few choice words probably afterwards as well.
You should. The Italians aren't the best of drivers, and you should. I remember being in the car with my dad over in Italy, and you should see them driving. It's mad. But someone pulls out in front of them, and like I said, but both hands are off the wheel, and it's, the whole hands are going. I'm like, put your hands back on the wheel.
Oh, it's quality. I was actually that mentioned that thing about going to Verona there a while ago. I'd actually booked. It was for my mom's 60th birthday, and she said that she wants to go to Italy. She wants to go to the opera outdoors, you know, kind of like an open air thing. And I said, right, well, let's see what I can do. And they have an open air. They have an amphitheater in Verona, which they use for opera. And I said, right, well, part of the trip, what I'll do is I'll do the classic. I'll get an open top Fiat 500. We'll drive around. And then as it got closer and closer, I started realizing, first of all, it's driving on the wrong side of the road in Italy for the first time. You know, you're kind of going, Dennis, are you effing mad? Like, what are you thinking? So eventually I said, no, scrap that. And I paid for transfers, which was far better, having an Italian drive you around rather than, you know, trying to do it yourself. But I remember we went to Rome as well, and that was by far and away the scariest. Particularly the autostrada are one thing, that's bad. but the city centres, oh my God, it's just every man for themselves.
It's really is dangerous. I remember also pulling down onto the autostrada, and I was in my friend's dad's car. We were coming back from watching them play a game of football, and so the two lanes were merging into one to come down onto the motorway, the autostrada as they call it. And a car pulled out in front of us in the last minute, and I'd never seen a man so angry in my life that he actually followed the car by our exit, turned the car sideways. He overtook the car, turned the car sideways, stopped a whole lane on the motorway, got out of the car just to give out to your man. I was like, what is he doing? Just gets back into the car and he goes, don't ever do that again, and just drives off. Like, as if, and then he starts talking to us as if nothing's happened. He goes back to the game anyway. It was a mad game, wasn't it?
Yeah, back into it. Yeah, straight back in. It's a fantastic place. It's my favorite country to visit. I have to say on holidays. Every time I'm there, I say, why don't I come here every year? I just love it. The food, the weather. It's as I remember one person saying that an Italian saying is he's like an open air museum. And it's absolutely true that the whole place, everywhere you go, is just another sight, another beautiful thing to look at. It's an incredible place.
It's definitely one of the most beautiful places in the world, I feel. I've been to a lot of places, but it definitely tops the list, I think. Traveling, there's so much to see, and there's so many different beautiful places. And I remember I went on a holidays two years ago, I think, now just for a weekend with my dad, and it was just beautiful. He brought me, and it's great to have him there because he can bring you places that tourists don't know about. Only the Italians know about. So that's definitely worth it.
And as well, you've got a native speaker with you as well, so you don't have any of that kind of tomfoolery when you go to a shop with them trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You've got someone who knows and won't take rubbish off them.
Definitely, that helps a lot.
On that topic, just talking about Italy, you were telling me before the Italians have a cricket team, and they had some sort of loophole about playing for Italy. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know too much about it, and I don't want to get too much into it, to be honest now. So I obviously don't know a lot about it, but they obviously might one day, but it mightn't be such a bad plan B because I'm an Italian citizen as well. So it could be a plan B playing a bit of cricket over in Italy.
And you were saying that if you play cricket for Italy, you can still then play for Ireland afterwards. You don't have to declare for one or the other.
I think so. Look, like I said, I don't know too much about it, but from what I heard, I think you can play a bit of cricket for Italy, and then maybe if you want to transfer back to Ireland, I don't think it's a big issue. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% on it.
Well, it'd certainly be something. Could you imagine playing cricket? I mean, we think we're quite blessed in Phoenix having the view that we do, and we are blessed. But could you imagine playing cricket in Tuscany or something having a ridiculous view out over the It's not a bad idea. Like, even maybe in your retirement years, maybe you might kind of settle back in Italy and play a bit of cricket there.
It'd definitely be worth it. The weather be the main thing. I think it'd be nice to play cricket, not having to wear a couple of jumpers and woolly hats.
Could you imagine the teas, Grass? The lunches. Imagine what they'd be like. They'd be like, they'd be bigger than the crease. The tables would be massive, be huge.
It'd be impossible to go back out and play a bit of cricket. You'd just fall straight into a food coma. Oh. And the way they are, they definitely have a beer or two maybe with the tea,
Oh yeah, well, vino probably, or limoncello or something. No, this will wake you up. You're batting shit. Hey, come on, what's wrong with you? Hey, come on, have a CBD. No stereotypes. No Italians were harmed in the making of this podcast. Now the other thing I want to ask, a second thing I want to share with you is this, and this will definitely get you going. I think you'll definitely appreciate this one. I've picked this one particularly because it's maybe one that's not seen that much, but my God, is it good. I just want to get this out of the way. Go away. There we are. Here. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this, but enjoy. Sorry, hold on. Did I stop the share there? I did, I hope. Yeah. Did I stop? Yeah, because it was still playing in the background. I was like, oh no, it's still going. Could you hear that? Yeah, that's all right, yeah.
Yeah.
I just got for a minute there during the video, I was panicking, said I didn't share the sound. I shared that one because it was great. It was part of it. Actually, I have the original VHS here. Hold on. Where is it? It was part of this. This is a video for the people who don't realize what that is. And it was the fourth song on the thing. But I remember, like, you'd only ever heard that song on the album, and to hear them playing live. First of all, how great the atmosphere was, and second of all, how great Liam's voice was in that, and you miss that so much.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big thing for me going to music festivals and concerts. It's just such a way, I find, to forget about reality, and you get lost in the moment and just really enjoy what's going on. And you know, you're there with a group of your mates, or the guy beside you might have never met in your life, but you two of you have the music in common, and you know you're arm over arm, just dancing around with each other, just getting. It's like you knew each other all your lives.
The thing about Oasis, I mean, I was very young when they were kind of massive. Like at that 95, I was only 9, and they were like, I think I caught them in 2009. They kind of their last, they played Slane, and I caught them there. Delighted to say that I saw them before they finished, but my God, the energy they had, like, and it's just a bit like what we were looking at there with the football a minute ago. It's just like these are things that enriched our lives that are no longer with us. I don't want to talk about COVID, but like, you know, you miss them so much, and it's just. How did you get into Oasis, by the way? I meant to ask.
So I'm good friends with Andrew Sheridan, Midge as he's known in North County. He would have played a lot of cricket with him growing up, and he got into it. He got into them. He must have got into it by someone else, not too sure. But he just started playing music to me and going, check these guys out. And I just started listening to them and just fell in love instantly. And it just felt like you could feel the power of their music and how they just attract people and how they're performers and they're entertainers. And I remember me and you we had a Zoom call the other night, just chilling out, having a bit of crack, and we were talking about sport and heroes and things like that, and talking about, like, for instance, like Liam, how he's such an idol to people. There's a lot of people grow up and go, Jesus, I want to be him. He's just such a character, and just together, he just gets the people going. He knows how to get a crowd going.
What I loved about that particular clip was the way he said the hello bit at the end. It was kind of hello. It was a snarl into the microphone, and that was like, it was so, as they said a lot about it. It was like Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols and John Lennon kind of rolled into one. There was a lot, and there was so, and he had, in fairness to him at the time, he had a fantastic range compared to what he is now, where it's all just through his nose. But like he had an incredible range, and he could really belt out a tune, and it was almost like, I'm spitting at you, you know, the audience. I'm gonna just absolutely, like a dragon breathing fire onto people. It was incredible.
Yeah, like as he's singing, I feel like he sings as if, like, I don't give a crap about anyone in this world, any of you's here. This is me. I am me. I am the king, and it's something to look up to. I think he's happy with who he is, and he doesn't give a rat's about what anyone thinks about him. And it's just, it's good in ways and obviously bad in others, because he can come across quite arrogant sometimes. But to have that characteristic where you don't give a crap what anyone thinks about you, I think is a big thing.
Well, we talked earlier about, you know, having the freedom to perform and play. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking at there. I don't think there's any coincidence that these are people that we're both attracted to, or these are things we're both attracted to. You know, passion. People who just play with, you know, no fear, and you know, it attracts people because people love, you know, if it was so easy to do, we'd all be doing it, and we wouldn't be paying money to see people doing it. These people are rare and wonderful, and you've got to appreciate. And they do live a little bit, you know, they fly a little bit too close to the sun sometimes, and sometimes they fall, and sometimes they keep going forever, or sometimes they're taken from us. But it's just, you know, it's such a wonderful thing to behold when you have it, and to be part of that moment. It's just so great. Is there anyone around at the moment that comes close in that respect, music-wise?
Music-wise, I wouldn't be massive into a lot of the new music either myself, to be honest. But I think nowadays with social media, it's very different. A lot of people feel like they have to please everyone, and nothing controversial can be said anymore. And I don't know. I feel like the whole world's getting caught up in that. It's like, yeah, Dennis, you might think A, I might think B, and we'll disagree on that topic, but that doesn't mean that in the bigger picture we can be friends. Like you could support, like personally, I'm not a massive Manchester United fan. I don't really like the fan base of Manchester United. I have the argument with brothers. Look, that's not going to stop me and you getting on. Me and you have so much more in common, but people get lost in things like that. I feel nowadays that they're like, geez, do you think that's white? I think that's black. That's it. We can't be friends.
Sorry, go ahead. Well,
feels like everyone needs to get on, but unfortunately, that's just not here.
I think the thing about it is that, like, I was watching a program this morning about I think you just temporarily frozen. I can still hear you, but you've just frozen a little bit. Your picture has. I think I was looking at a program this morning about they were celebrating Passover, and obviously Easter's next week, and you're talking about like two of the major religions of the world, and Islam as well, all religions but one God and everything, and the wars and the killing and the horror that has happened between those three. The peoples of those three faiths, and like no one stops to say, sorry, do you realize how much these are in common, how similar these religions are? They're pretty much based around the same idea. They're supposedly, it is technically the same God we're talking about. It's like, but like exactly the same thing what you're just talking about there. Humans seem to find ways to create these little clubs. I'm in this club and you're not, and then that makes a difference and it brings down a wall. But when we're at our best, we're breaking walls down, and we're celebrating coming together. So I just can't understand why, we could get very peace and love here, hippie trippy on this, but like I just can't understand why more people don't focus on the things that people have in common, and bringing people together rather than talking about things that make us different. And at the same time, exactly what you're saying, celebrating is that not what we're trying to do? Celebrating people's differences. Can I not be different to you? And the way I kind of phrase it to kind of stop me talking and hear you talking, the way I phrase it is like I have the right to be wrong. If I'm not hurting somebody, if I'm not physically hurting somebody or abusing them, I have the right to my opinion and the right to be wrong, more importantly.
Yeah. But that's it. It's like everyone's focusing on the negatives rather than focus on the positives. You need to focus on the positives in life and everything. Obviously, you need to spend some time in the negatives and try work on them. It's like your cricket game. It's like batting. Okay, I know I can nail this shot, but I'm really bad at this shot. You're not going to fob that shot off. You're going to practice that shot, but you're not going to stop practicing the shot you're deadly at.
Yeah,
that's what you need to make the positives stronger and your negatives stronger. But there's no point in spending too much time focused on the negatives, because then it's just you end up getting yourself into a bad mind frame and looking on. So like people forget that. Well, let's just focus on positives. Yeah, there's a lot of things on it. Dennis, you're sport Man United. Oh, yeah, but we've had chats at the cricket club. We have a really good time with each other at cricket. So let's focus on that and not focus on the negatives.
We have so much more in common, Grass, than we have like that would divide us. And you have, if everyone was the same, it would be bloody boring. Anyway, I'm going to get off that because we go on and on. I know you and I could go on for hours about that. I just want to kind of just move it on a little bit. We could also go on about conspiracy theories a lot. I have this down as something we could talk about, but maybe I think we've kind of covered enough the theoretical, world stuff. We'll leave that for maybe another time. Maybe episode the part 2 of this when I talk to you again. We'll talk about that. Yeah, because we've plenty to talk about that. The last thing I want to talk to you about is, or the last thing I want to do with you, we've done this before, and you weren't a massive fan of it, but I don't care. We're doing it again. Tough. It's my podcast and it's my ball and I'm playing it. I'm taking it home. So it's the Dennis's Bunsen burner. And hopefully the question that comes up for you will be a bit more to your liking. You'll be able to give it a better answer, or come up with an answer for this time. I'm going to share my screen again. And there's Liam again. There he is, doing his thing. Okay, here we go. So no expense spared here. Okay, Grass, here we go. Oh, I don't believe it. It's the same one as last week. I don't believe it. Oh my God. So this is the one for those of you who weren't watching. This
well,
is
my computer's a little bit slow.
Did you see it? I'll tell you what.
I didn't get to see it now. I heard you, and I think I know what it is.
It's the initiation song of choice. So it's the same one as Aaron got last week or the last episode. and he chose the Johnny Cash song. And not only did he choose it very quickly, he performed it as well. Now, I'm not going to ask you to perform any initiation song. I wouldn't do that to you. But if, let's imagine you make it into the senior Ireland team, and first match you play, you know, in the change room afterwards, there's a few beers, maybe there's a bit of bubbly, whatever else, and you're, you know, requested to sing an initiation song, what would it be? Can you think off the top? You can think, go with the band first, and then you can narrow it down to the song.
I have a few that I think it'd be in the heat of in the moment. I think it'd be, so there's a lot of emotions going on, but I think like I said, if it was after a game and you're after winning, I think it'd be a different song. But I think if I was to come in, I think I'd have to sing "Hero" by Enrique Iglesias.
Oh, I love that. That is the most Jamie Grassi answer I have ever heard. That is absolutely awesome. I love that. And I was asking, could you top Aaron Colley's answer last week? My God, you've done that, because now everyone is imagining you with with your little pencil beard, you know. I can be a hero, baby. The only thing is, it'd be nice to have. What was the name of the girl, the actress that was in that video? She looked really well in that video. Do you remember?
Yeah, I can't remember her name though.
Oh, it was a bit
good,
racy, that video as well, wasn't it? There was a bit. Oh no, I'm thinking of the one with Anna Kournikova. That was different. That was a different one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. It's a bit different. That
it's just a little bit. Maybe wouldn't sing that one. Jesus, that's great. And the thing about it is, though, Grass, is that people would sing along with that. Though that is, as much as they'd like to slag off Enrique Iglesias and his dad, I'd say people would actually genuinely sing along with that, because you could pull it off, I think.
Yeah, it's a great song. I don't know why. I get really emotional singing it. So obviously it'd be an emotional time. So I think it'd be a song, and
you kind of went out a little bit. I'm presuming you're obviously after a win. I'm presuming you've hit the winning runs as well. You know, let's talk real, you know, Roy the Rover stuff here. I mean, it's going to have to be. If it's Hero by Enrique Iglesias, you've definitely, you wouldn't have wanted to have dropped a few catches, you know, and had a kind of a small part in that game. You know, I'd say you'd want to have had a big impact and be able to have the credibility to sing that song.
Yeah, you want to be the hero in the game, don't you?
Oh my God! Right, there's one more to do. One more after this. Hopefully, you'll see this one a bit better. I'm going to share it again, and obviously it'll be a different one to last time. So I'm just going to resume here. I hope it doesn't come up again. It probably won't. Now I was hoping this one would come up. Can you see it?
Slow. It's slow.
Can you see the one that's come up?
I would love to give my 2 cents to.
Yeah. So that's basically my way of saying someone I'd love to give a piece of my mind to.
Oh, there's a lot of people I'd love to give my mind to, but I better.
Come on, Jamie, we've come this far now. Come on.
I don't know who. That's put me on the spot. What was the pass thing? Wasn't there a pass thing?
Damn! I forgot. I forgot about that.
Messing.
Well, I mean, okay. So,
look,
off the top of your head.
I can't.
You know what's going to happen. You're going to be texting me in an hour's time, going, "Oh, that's who I should have said him." Oh, do you want me to go? I tell you what, we'll do a pat.
And like Collie said last week, it's when you get put in the spot, it's so different.
Well, what I would say to you is,
trouble.
Oh well, Jesus, who cares, Jesus. What I would say is the first person that comes into your head is normally what you go with. Anyway, I'll give you a pass on it, right? And we'll do one more just to kind of. So I'm going to eliminate giving my 2 cents to, and we're going to go again. That's a slight bit easier.
Favorite moment on the field.
Yeah.
I think it'd have to be winning the under-19s World Cup qualifiers against Scotland when we only got 110 and we defended 110, and they were 90 or 95 for 5. Oh my God, I'd never felt that in like before in my life. And that I had an adrenaline buzz for days after that, man. That was the best moment ever. I felt like I would have sang Hero that night, I can tell you that. Even though I wasn't the hero. We all felt like heroes.
What I was going to say, where was that? Where'd you play that game?
That was in Jersey. That was in, was it 2017, I think, the summer of 2017. It was a winner takes all. We batted first, and Harry Tektor batted very well. He dug us out of a hole. The rest of us batted like twats. But and we only got 110. And I mean, going out onto the field with 110 runs, I know you always want to believe you can win, but it is tough to believe you're going to win with 110 runs. But we kept the faith, and obviously with them being 90 or 95 for 5, you're just like, you're on the field and you're trying to stay as positive as you can. It's tough when they'd an informed batter at the time, but then when we started getting those wickets and that final ball went up in the air, I remember Pebbles took the catch. My God, I'd say I broke a few ribs hugging people that night. Jesus, that was a great game. That was such a feeling.
I've never really I've come close to having. I mean, I've never had the exploits that you've had or play with the players you play with, but I can only imagine the closest I came to something like that was, I remember my first club was Merrion, and I was playing for my second club, Sandyford, in Merrion, and I've never returned to Merrion and beaten them, never. And no matter what team, even with Phoenix, I've never beaten them. And I really, because I had to thank Merrion an awful lot for their coaching and the help they gave me and developed me and whatever else. But I never really enjoyed my time as much as I did there as I did other places. And I always wanted to beat them when I came back. And we'd one game where we were down to I was the last wicket, or I was the jack, and I think it was about 16 or 17. And Sachin, the chap who's batting with us, he scored 70 odd, and he got us really close. We were dead in the water, and it was a big, Merion's a big ground, and there's lots of runs to be had, but it feels like a lonely place when you're 150 odd behind and you're nowhere near getting the score. I think Sachin got 70 odd, made a huge, like 100 partnership, one of the lads, and we needed, I think he needed 5 to win or something. We had 3 overs left, and he went for a big 6 into the pavilion, and he got caught in the boundary, and it was one of the worst feelings I've ever had in a cricket field. But it was so close to being one of the best feelings I've ever had. Yeah. It was just so close between one or the other. It was ridiculous. It's
a fine line. It's such a fine line.
Can I ask, where in Jersey was that? Where,
that's what we love about sport.
Sorry, yeah. Where in Jersey was the match? Because I've played in cricket in Jersey. Whereabouts was the field? Do you remember the area that it was?
I have no idea, Dennis. I'm brutal with stuff like that, to be honest.
You're probably blindfolded and
the best when it comes to the places.
Well, you remember the victory, which is the most important thing. So I think I might just draw to an end here for today. And what a great story to finish on. Defending 110, especially in Jersey, which is a lovely place as well. And to do it in such a style when they're 95 or whatever for 5, that just what a story that is. But I don't think it's going to be topped by the hero moment. I think that's definitely, I think that's going to stick with us for a while, and it may get played. It may get played a little bit over the season. I hope it does. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on this evening and braving the technical difficulties. We got through, we had fun, and we'll do it again, I hope, sometime soon.
No problem at all, Dennis. Thanks for having me. It was great to be on.